Hello everybody and welcome back to yet another Factorio episode. Today we're gonna continue where we left off last time, and the first thing that I want to do actually is I've noticed that I forgot to put a red inserter here because this belt should be fully compressed. That looks much better now. So we're gonna be continuing where we left off, and that is doing our steel furnace setup. Now I am missing quite a few steel furnaces, and I need to get a few more belts as well. um, I don't need more mining drills. I'm actually gonna put a few of them back, and I'm gonna make my trash chest, put it somewhere like here. There's a few things that I do not want on me. There's also a few things that I do want. I do want to have at least one extra firearm magazine on me. Let's see, do we have any more steel furnaces? No, we don't. So for now, I'm going to be doing half and half. So I'll use however many furnaces I still have left. So I have 20 left, so I'm going to be doing, in order to get steel, we haven't actually talked about that, but in order to get steel, we need to smelt raw iron ore twice. When we smelt it the first time, we get iron plates, and then if we smelt iron plates, as you probably see me doing already, we're gonna get steel plates. And that the ratios actually match 1 to 1, so this has a crafting time of 3.2 seconds. This has a crafting time of 16 seconds, which is, if I'm not mistaken, exactly 5 times higher. So if we put them like this and we feed raw iron ore into this one and produce iron plates and then feed the iron plates into this one, we're gonna be consuming at the exact ratio that we want to. The way we're gonna do this is using a fairly similar setup. It's just gonna be one side input. It's not gonna be a two-sided input. This is gonna be designed to consume one full yellow belt of iron ore that's gonna come through here. I don't want that much coal on me. I don't think I'll need this many rocks on me, but we'll go like this for now. And these are all the steel furnaces we have so far. And now is where we're gonna start diverging a bit from the pattern that I believe everybody has already gotten used to. And that is, again, we won't have the second input lane. This is going to be an output lane actually. And the way this is going to work is this is also going to have coal on it because we need to feed coal into these steel furnaces as well. And they do not carry over from one to the other, unfortunately. But we are also going to be outputting, sorry, I just realized I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing. Let me clean this belt up. So we're going to be loading coal onto the left hand side of the belt, and we're going to be outputting steel on the right hand side of the belt. And the way we're going to load coal onto this side of the belt is, for now, I'll just do it like this. So basically we'll have an inserter that inputs coal and one that outputs steel. And the pattern is just gonna keep repeating, and this is gonna be how our setup is gonna look like. But as you can see, we have a small problem here. We do not have room for a power pole. Now we could put a power pole here, and this would be fine, I guess. But I do not like the looks of having just a line of power poles going through here. So what I'm actually going to be doing is I'm going to be using um, medium electric poles. Now we don't need a lot of them. I've just crafted 20 medium electric poles. But the reason why we're doing that is this electric pole will have the cover of both the left hand side, the right hand side, and the middle. So it's just gonna work like this. And as soon as we've loaded 5 coal, we're gonna see that our steel is gonna start to be produced. Um, and yeah, that's the setup that we're gonna follow. I'm just gonna use stone furnaces for now until we're able to craft the remaining steel furnaces. And I've just realized that I don't think I have enough inserters. I definitely do not have enough inserters, so I'm just gonna go and steal a couple more inserters from here. Yeah, this should be plenty of inserters. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm actually placing all of them facing left. And now I'm just gonna go over in this pattern, assuming I'm not gonna stand in the way. And this is gonna also flip the two inserters facing this way. Um, I find this way easier to set up than just to manually click and drag all of them. So it's still a very tedious process. I can hardly wait to get to robots, which can build this whole setup for us without any issues. But this is the stage of the game we're in. And now I'm just gonna drag power poles like this. Sorry, not like that, like this. And our entire line is automated and we're producing steel. Now we don't need a red belt here. The steel production is on a 0.2 ratio to raw iron ore. So one iron belt should be more than enough. Oh, sorry, one yellow belt should be more than enough to handle a lot of to handle the whole array setup. But what I am going to be doing is I am going to be buffering this in two chests to make sure that um, we're producing this continuously, because steel is going to be a bottleneck for quite some time. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use the underground belt trick again. This time I want to grab only the outer hand side of the belt, so I'm going to be doing like this and like that. And this is going to make sure, as you can see, that only the steel moves and the coal stays in place. So this is the steel setup. We now have everything connected, and I'm just double checking to make sure that we're not polluting any new biter bases. I'm going to very quickly set up. Okay, not entirely sure how fast this is gonna produce, but I do want to empty this belt. And I'm gonna produce our first car. I'm gonna build our first car, and we need engine units for that. Now, unlike almost everything that we've built so far, engines is not something that we can craft in our inventory. We'll need an assembling machine for this. I'm just gonna put down a couple of assembling machines. I'm gonna select the recipe, give power. Let me see how I want to do this. I want 8. I want just 8 engines to be produced for now. So I'm gonna make sure that I feed just enough steel so that we don't overproduce. Now, while we're doing that, I want to set up for our next phase of the game, and that is oil production. So first of all, I want to talk about what we need for oil production and just have a very brief overview of what we're gonna do before we actually start doing it. So lots of things will make hopefully more sense because we need to set up quite a few things up front. So here we have an oil patch, which is gonna give us crude oil. Now, in order to extract crude oil, we won't be using mining drills as we've used so far. We will be using pump jacks. So basically these are oil nodes. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 oil nodes. So I'm going to be producing 6 pump jacks. One thing that I forgot is to upgrade these factories to level 2 factories. And I'm actually gonna go and feed a bit more steel into no, I'm gonna do something extremely ugly. I'm gonna do something extremely ugly. First of all, I'm gonna move this radar here, and second of all, yeah, we have our radar. I am going to drag this belt all the way here and give steel to our assembly machine factory so that we have those automated, because I do want to upgrade our science production as well and quite a few other factories. Let's queue up some more research. What else do we need immediately? I think this is going to be quite nice to have. I'm going for level 3, level 2 stack inserters, because this technology is also actually going to give us an additional one more capacity for our regular inserters, which means that they're going to be working actually twice as fast. So we have steel going on here. That's perfect. I was saying that I want to grab. We don't have any iron gears, which is very unfortunate. And I've just realized another thing that I forgot to do, and that is to have pipes automated in the factory, because we are gonna need a lot of pipes for the next phase of the game. So this is the next thing that I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna output them into a single chest. Don't want to overproduce. We're out of electric poles, so I'm just gonna grab that. I'm gonna grab a bit more, let's say 100 copper plates, so we can produce a few more. I don't want to switch everything over to medium electric poles, because this is gonna consume a lot of steel. So, well, I was hoping for our iron gears to actually start piling up, but they're not yet. Now we should have full throughput for these 4 assembly machines. But, well, we'll just have to handcraft all of these pump jacks ourselves. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna want to do is or I'm actually gonna craft a few storage tanks. This acts as chests for our fluids. So I'll just queue up for storage tanks. Now, what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be moving that oil all the way to this area, which is going to be our oil um, products manufacturing. So in order to do this, we're going to need pipes. All the liquids in the game are transported via pipes. We're going to use underground pipes instead of regular pipes because with regular pipes, once you lay down a pipe, there's no way to go through it. And that's applicable both for us and for the biters. So if we have any biter attacks in the future, they're just gonna run into our pipes and destroy them. With underground pipes, on the other hand, they cover quite a bit of distance and you can move freely around them. Unfortunately, they do cost a lot, and we do need quite a few regular pipes. So I believe we need 10 regular pipes and 5 iron plate. So I'm gonna start crafting 38 of these pipes, but that's not gonna be anywhere close to what we need. Should be okay for now. I'm actually gonna reduce the number because I do not want to handcraft regular pipes. That's gonna be covered by this factory. And I think we can switch to fast inserters. Not sure if two long-handed inserters will have enough throughput to keep this factory running permanently, but once our stack research inserters, once our research for stack inserters is complete, we'll definitely have enough throughput. Okay, so once we bring the resources here, we're gonna have to transform raw oil into its derivatives, and that is the main thing that we're interested right now, and the only thing that we're going to be able to research to manufacture until we have a higher level of research is petroleum gas. Now, petroleum gas is made in oil refineries, which are these massive buildings. I am going to set up 10 of them. And I'm out of pipes again. I'm just going to stay near the assembling machines. And 5 more. That should do it. So oil refineries is going to give us petroleum gas. Petroleum gas is the main ingredient alongside coal for manufacturing plastic bars, and that is in yet another new type of building, which is called the chemical plant. So we are going to need just a few of these should do. I think 4 is more than enough for our plastic needs for early game. And the reason why we're building plastic bars is because that's going to give us our second tier of circuits, which are called advanced circuits. We're going to use electronic circuits, copper cable, and plastic. So this is one of the main reasons why we've went through all of the trouble of getting oil and setting up oil to get to these advanced circuits. Another thing that we want to get is sulfur. As you can see, sulfur is made of petroleum gas as well and water, and this is made in chemical plants. We're probably gonna need a couple more chemical plants for sulfur processing. This is also another very high throughput resource. It's the 1 second crafting time for 2 sulfur. For plastic is 1 second crafting time for 2 plastic bars. And with advanced circuits, with sulfur, and with engines, which require steel, iron gear, and pipes, we will be able to build chemical science packs. Now, this is a lot of setup that we'll need to do. This will require um, a lot of careful planning on how we uh, move our resources around the base to make sure that we're able to feed all of our factories. And this is where our main bus setup that I've mentioned earlier is going to come into play. Now, quickly going to look at the power consumption. We're at 12 megawatts out of 18. And I believe that this is with the entire base running. But nevertheless, we're getting pretty close to that power limit. So I will be looking at expanding our power production fairly soon. And we can see that our green science production is actually dwindling a bit. So let's talk about main bus. Now, the whole idea about the main bus is that we have a long section that's only filled with belts that transport resources, and we branch off of this main bus, off of these long running belts. We pull whatever resources we need in order to build a recipe, and we put the output back onto the bus. And we're going to be using this pattern to do all of our technologies, to do all of our research packs, all the way up to launching a rocket. Now, there's a couple of variants for this type of setup, and I actually haven't built a main bus setup in quite a while. I'm gonna be running around a bit here to try to approximate if I have enough space for everything until we run into the into the oil patch. But I think that this space here should be more than enough to get us to launching a rocket. So let's start planning. Another variation that I've seen some people do with buses is have buildings on both sides of the bus or just on one side of the bus. Now, I personally prefer having just on one side of the bus. I think it makes the design a bit cleaner. So I'm going to be going with that setup. And we're going to start planning that setup around here. I think that this should give us more than enough space. I'm just going to lay down the belts so I have an indication of where things need to go. Now, the way I generally tend to design bus setup is lanes in pairs of 4. And the reason why we do lanes in pairs of 4 is because of the distance that an underground belt can travel. So an underground belt can travel 4 spaces, and that is exactly enough to jump over our bus lanes. So the way we're going to set up this is we're going to have eventually 4 lines of iron running through here. I want to keep those 4 lines dedicated to just iron. 4 lines of copper. At the beginning, we're not going to be using a lot of copper, as you've seen, but once we reach yellow sands, I believe, and once we reach factory rocket components, we're going to be using a lot of copper. So that's when we're going to be expanding copper massively. Now, the next 4 lines are going to be used for electronic circuits. And this we're going to also be massively using. What I'm going to do at the very beginning is I'm going to lay out over here probably our first electronic circuit production, but we're going to be expanding that to 4 setups and probably just go towards the left here once we start needing them. And we won't really start needing them until we reach the level 3, the level 3 circuits, which are the blue circuits. If I quickly search for them, I do not remember their actual name, but they should be fairly visible. I am, as you can see, I haven't played this in quite a long while, so I do forget where some of the things are. But yeah, there it is. Advanced Electronics 2, which is going to give us this recipe, which consumes a whopping 20 electronic circuits. So when we start building this and mass producing these level processing units, we're going to need a lot of electronic circuits. And that's why we actually have copper and electronic circuits scaled up this big. Now, the next lines are going to be way smaller. We're not going to have that many lines dedicated just for one resource. So here we're going to have 2 belts of advanced circuits and 2 belts of plastic. And on the other 3 belts that I've plotted here, we're gonna have all the odds and ends that are gonna be required. I do not remember from the top of my head everything that goes in here. We might end up not needing some of these extra lanes. But one of the reasons why I don't like putting things on both sides of the main bus is because I like to leave room here to scale. So the main bus is just gonna look like this. We're gonna have lots of lanes coming in, and this is gonna stretch all the way up to somewhere around here. Hopefully it's gonna be enough. And what we're gonna have spread across all of these belts is lane balancers, and especially for the basic three basic resources, which are electronic circuits, iron plates, and copper plates. We're definitely gonna need these lane balancers. Now I will have to check the exact setup for this. I haven't done this in quite a while, and I'm not gonna do this on camera right now, but basically what this will do, I believe it was something like this. I will have to check if this is actually how it works, but the goal of this balancer is to make sure that it will equally distribute the input resources on the output belts. So even if we have just one belt coming in that's full and 3 belts that are empty, all of these lanes are gonna get the same number of resources. So it's basically gonna split this lane into 4 equal amounts. And again, if we have just this lane and this lane, we're gonna have everything equally distributed onto the 4 lanes here, and so on. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna get our iron and copper lanes. And also one resource that I forgot that I'll need is steel. So probably the electronic circuits are gonna be moved down here. We'll have 2 lanes of steel coming through here, and then plastic is gonna be moved all the way down here. I really hope that this is the correct design, and I'm remembering this correctly. We will see, I guess. If not, I'll just have to redo them. But what I'm gonna do now is, well, queue up a few more senses, queue up a few more researches, sorry. Not that we need anything urgently, but yeah, just to have them ready. I think it's safe right now to deconstruct this pillbox. And I'm just gonna grab a regular yellow belt for now. For both iron and copper. I will have to set up automated undergrounds and splitters at some point. But for now, this will have to do. Oh, I went a bit overboard. Yeah, it goes like this. And we should be able to quickly see if the balancer works correctly. Because once the resources hit this area, we should see a nice equal distribution between the four output belts. Now, we're gonna end this episode here. In the next episode, I'm gonna look at setting up our first on the bus production chain. Yeah, this looks like a nice even distribution. So I think I've actually remembered correctly how to set this up. So what we're going to be doing is over here, we're going to be setting up our first electronic circuit array. We're going to be moving our red and green science production over here somewhere and move our labs probably somewhere around here. And yeah, I think that's going to be the goal for the next episode. Start moving some of the things that we've temporarily set here onto the main bus. With that being said, thank you very much for watching. I wish you have a nice day and see you here next time.